Yeah.
But Daniel, let's zoom out. You saw the entire segment that she did. What is it that Myrka said, and what is it that people are getting wrong in any context that's important there?
Yeah. Well, as far as context, it is a distortion of what she actually said. I mean, Myrka Dellanos is one of the voices on, I think, on a panel of four or five ladies, kind of like sort of tantamount to The View
Hmm.
that you see on ABC. With she's probably the only center right voice in the entire show, or in its history, practically. So, she's always the minority view on that show. But, here, um, she's been receiving some coordinated blowback for allegedly, like you said, saying that all Mexicans are criminals, and that but what she really said was that the Mexican government is tied to the narcos and the cartels. It shouldn't be news to anybody. I mean, give me a break, right? To take an easily provable reality that the cartels have paid off many politicians in Mexico and actually killed a lot of politicians for not taking bribes, by the way, entre parentheses, let me add, that they control entire regions of Mexico, and that they exert fear and intimidation over Mexicans with violence and murder, and to pretend that somehow, Mexico is a nation that is free of all this, I think, is a bit rich. Wadi, just recently they have found extermination camps dotted across Mexico in which people were tortured and disappeared in vats of acid, cut up in pieces. They found these crematoriums in Nuevo León, where my parents are from and where I'm from, in Jalisco, in the center of Mexico, in Tamaulipas. They're killing Mexicans at scale now, right? And folks want to pretend, that to be outraged at the mild charge made by Myrka Dellanos. Por favor, the other thing I'll add is that they found in one site, in the Jalisco site, 300 pairs of discarded shoes.
Hmm.
Of course, you can draw the connection there because they found also human bones and human remains littered throughout that site. And so, how do you murder at scale like that? How do you disappear so many people and they're barely finding out about this? I mean, are people turning a blind eye? Well, maybe that's exactly what's going on. Anyways, Mirka was saying that what she did was actually she was quoting from a report, a U.S. report on the issue, that the government is in fact connected between the Mexican government and tied to the cartels, and that many Mexicans are saying it. Reporters are saying it. Uh, Folks on Televisa, to every other little small paper, have been screaming it. And these people want to deny reality. So, she did not say all Mexicans are
Yeah.
cartel. That's a distortion. That's a false accusation.
Hmm.
That's the true misinformation in this whole thing. But yeah, that's where we stand.
Yeah, and to that point, Daniel, what I find very concerning about the entire situation is what I believe these folks are doing is that they are taking someone who is on the right
Yeah.
side of the scale, on the conservative side of the paradigm, and because they don't like her, they're taking this clip, again, manipulating it and trying to use to paint her as bad. And by doing that, they're almost defending or
That's
saying
right.
there's not a reality in Mexico
Part of
that's
the
going
cover
on.
up.
Like, I would think someone who cares about the people of Mexico, someone who cares about the government of Mexico, someone who cares about U.S. Mexican relations, someone who cares about Latin America, because so many people also something about the cartel that I've learned recently, and not even that recently, it's been for the last few years, but I want to say in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of the human trafficking, la gente que venía, that would come into the U.S. unlawfully were not really by cartels. It was kind of these coyotes. It was almost its separate industry. But now the cartels, who are, you know, gang members, I mean, who are beyond that, is a level of evilness. They have become the folks. For them, this is a business. Matter of fact, in McAllen, we were
Right.
talking to Border Patrol. They were saying that the coyotes really saw, their job sort of almost as something sophisticated. They cared about the end goal of the person, about their reputation. The cartels, they said, now do not care. They see the humans as product. Matter of fact, they use them. They talked about how they use them as distractions. They'll leave people abandoned in the desert So that Border Patrol has to go to that area so that they can then sneak in drugs through a different area. It's a sophisticated, unfortunate situation that these cartels have. And to think that there is nothing, no bribing, nothing illegal going on related to payoffs or anything related to the government, I think it's a level of turning a blind eye. But also, again, going to the main point here, all this is a reality, and trying to distract from that reality by trying to use this individual, Myrka Dellanos, for them as a focal point, to me, it is manipulation from the left, and I think it's also irresponsible for the left. How do you see it?
Well, yeah, it is, of course, the practice of character assassination, right? You know, the to distort what her expression was in order to win your point of view and to demonize her, you know, and undermine, you know, her positioning as a credible voice, you know, as an advocate for the Latino community. I mean, you know, Myrka was with us on the Capitol Hill steps, you know, when we were pushing Dreamer legislation. I mean, she's been a champion, you know, for immigrants almost her entire life. You know, I know I've been on several occasions with her in her news shows to talk about, you know, what the progress has been on immigration reform. And so people, you know, to make these kind of false accusations in a very real way are also shooting themselves in the foot, Wadi. But a lot of these folks are doing it to protect, you know, their personalities on the center left. I mean, Sheinbaum, we know, is a socialist-leaning, you know, elected leader. Again, you know, she's the queen of the Western Hemisphere, and she's loved by the, you know, by a lot of the Mexicans. I mean, she has a high popularity polling that just came out. It's like 80% of Mexicans love her.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the poor, right? Because of her redistribution programs that she has. And so she's very popular, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And anything negative that is said against her, well, you know, you're gonna get a blowback, right? And so they seek to undermine anyone who may have something negative to say about Sheinbaum's administration, or even the previous administration, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, also referred to as AMLO, right? And so they'll even go to the lengths of distorting what any person has said, again, you know, to make them look bad in front of the public. But the truth is the truth, and the truth has to be said, right? And so, which is exactly what Myrka did. I stand by every word that she said. In fact, I've repeated the same things on different platforms myself. But you know, there's no question that there are other forces at play here that, like as you said, ironically, are actually almost justifying the actions of the cartel, ignoring totally that, you know, how violent they are, and that they would cut you in a split second if it was in their interest for profit.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. 2 points there that I heard, Daniel. 2 key points of many things that you mentioned is, one, it's character assassination of someone who's trying to bring light to a reality. And two, almost by attacking her, it's almost a defense of what we see on behalf of these cartels, both very negative thing. It reminds me that we typically say, and we believe, that a lot of the polarization comes because people are more focused on criticizing people than policy. If these folks wanted to have a debate on policy and say, hey, this is what we see from the cartel, they're actually not doing this, or the government of Mexico is not engaging in this type, which there's decades of evidence of this. This is not just a Sheinbaum thing. This is not just probably the left or the right. I mean, there's decades of evidence of different parties, which in Mexico, there's multiple parties similar to other places in Latin America. So it's a topic we'll continue to monitor, and we encourage folks to do their research.
Let me just add really quick here, Wadi. Yes, she is receiving blowback. Yes, there are even letters that are being written to get her off the show. And I would exhort the folks at Telemundo to have a steely spine on this one, and defend, you know, their personality. She's a talent, and she's just stating the truth is what she's doing. I would hope that, you know, there are no executive actions taken against her by the folks at Telemundo. I trust that they will not. Like I said, I stand by every word she said.
Yeah, very much so. Daniel, moving on to our next topic.